arts education as well and works on different boards related to arts education, involved in nonprofits, trying to fund technology for education. Nai's just been just a great asset to ACTA over the last 3 or 4 years, and I truly have enjoyed him because he brings so much technology to the table, even after hours, bringing his iPad and his iPhone 4 years ago when some of us didn't really have any idea about all the technologies that were involved, and he's really shown us a lot of really cool things that we can utilize. So I'm very thrilled today that Nai's here, and I hope you'll enjoy his presentation.
Thank you very much, Holly. I don't have a microphone, so I'll try to use my teaching voice. I'm not in practice, so bear with me. Can everyone hear me fine in the back? Yeah, good. Maybe I could be a teacher. Oh, I just cracked my voice, so maybe not. All right. Thank you very much, Holly, for that introduction. This is a multimedia exploration on technology, or we call it Social Network, the movie. Anybody see that movie, The Social Network? Very interesting movie. So before we get into that, I'd like to show a little video about my most embarrassing moment at ACT 2009 in Nashville, when I got a chance to speak in front of about 4,000 ACT educators.
Response to this morning's speaker, whom I know you're going to enjoy. Indulge me for just a minute, please. Welcome the founder and president of KP Education Systems, Nai Wang.
KP, Knowledge in Practice. I am Nai Wang, founder and president of KP Education Systems, and I have devoted my entire adult life to the pursuit of furthering. So if you're going to hear the back, I said my entire adult life, and now everyone's laughing at me. We share in his personal passion to fight for what is right, to provide opportunity for all through knowledge and practice. KP is dedicated to that. Thank you, Chef Jeff, for being an inspiration to us. More importantly, I would like to thank you, the devoted CTE educators. Without people like you, reaching people like me, the ones who didn't perfectly fit the academic model, I wouldn't be standing here in front of you today. Please give yourselves a round of applause. Thank you, Ed, and the ACT Association. Maybe I can see to walk the wrong way, and then so this is basically to illustrate that I'm not used to standing in front of people because I spend most of my time in front of a computer, typing away, and not in front of the public forum. But I seem to do pretty well, so I'd like to thank you all for giving me the opportunity to speak. Now, this is more than just a presentation about social media, technology, and education. It's actually more personal than that. It's about how technology affected my life and brought my success through CTE. So first I want to let you know a little bit more about me. First off, I was made in Taiwan. I was exported here at a ripe age of 2. That's a good time to ripen. And then lived here ever since. So because of that, I'm an ESL student. I had to go to speech class. Chinese was my first language. English is my second language.
As you can see, I have a very thick Chinese accent. So the speech classes worked very well. But because of that, that gave me a bit of a struggle in the education system here. I was highly introverted. I spent my time in front of computers, as you can tell. I wasn't very social, and I was an introvert. I mean, people who meet me now today can't really see that. I came out of my shell. If my parents had money, I probably would have been diagnosed with ADHD. But because they didn't, I had to figure out how to manage my unattentiveness. But the key point of that, when I bring that up, is that I took my disadvantage at that time. You got to think back quite a number of years back, where everyone had to pay attention in class. They had to all learn linearly. Where I was just all over the place. So that was a problem. People didn't know how to educate to that style. So fortunately, I had to figure out ways to be able to take my biggest drawback and turn it into my biggest asset. And as already reinforced, I am a computer nerd to the extreme. If you were to see my workstation, I have 4 monitors. It's the only way I could pay attention. I have 4 things going on, 4 gigantic monitors with about 20, 30 windows active at any time. Also, a very good, closely guarded secret, well, I guess not anymore, is that I was functionally illiterate. I went through all of high school without reading a single novel, if you can believe that. I had to adopt text-to-speech programs in college so I could get through those classes as well. Because I'm Chinese, I have to go to college. No choice about that, So, for practical sake, I was functionally illiterate. I would read a book and I wouldn't be able to remember it. I would look at a page of text, I would read it, and I have to reread it, I have to mouth it. So it was a long, long process. So a lot of times I just didn't do it. I just paid attention in class. And because of that, I didn't, sometimes in classes I would drift off, I wouldn't focus because my mind's going somewhere else. So a lot of cases I was a teacher's nightmare because sometimes I smart off to them, okay? Sometimes I fall asleep in class because I was bored. When I was taking computer classes, I actually knew more than the teacher did. So I'm sure that you guys can relate to, you have some students out there that are kind of like me. So how do you take a student like that and turn it into a success? Well, first off, I want to be honest with you. How is this kid going to tell an administrator, a seasoned teacher, something new? And I'll tell you the truth. The truth is that I'm probably not going to tell you anything new today. These are things that you probably already heard about. These are things that you've seen in workshops, that you've gone through, national conferences, state conferences, local conferences, chapter meetings. You've probably been inundated with this information so many times that you're sick of it. So I'm just going to make you even more sick of it. But, it's nothing new. Really, it's nothing new. The information's out there. But what we all want you to do is to take that knowledge and put it into practice. And why we call it KP, knowledge and practice. So one of my big points is that the world is connected. We're connected through social media. And this is basically kind of like our outline. We're going to talk about how it applies to students today, how it applies to education, how it applies to me. We're going to learn about the Students Speak Up survey that I'm sure some of you are already familiar with. Learn about cell phone policies, because this is something that I'm a big advocate of. Facebook integration, the social media. And we're going to learn to dream a little. Okay? And I'm going to tell you a little bit about my dreams. So, I'm sure that this is a very popular video, and I met this gentleman back in 2008 when he first started promoting it. This is Dr. Wesh, and if you've seen this before, raise your hand, because I want to see how well this has gone. How far has this gone? Anybody? You see it? Oh, great. It's nothing new then. I mean, it's something new. playback issues. Hold on. Playback issues. God love technical difficulties.
Yeah, it's good. Probably.
Pretty compelling stuff, eh? And you have to imagine that this study was done in 2007. That's like 1,000,000 years ago. Okay? You know, in computing terms, in social networking terms, And like, in the technology world, we might as well be talking about brick cell phones in the 1980s. Because that much advancement has happened just in that short amount of time. And fortunately, actually, since he did this, he's gained a lot of notoriety. He took boring statistical data that he took a survey of students and turned it into that compelling video. And he's doing it again this year by taking it from the student standpoint and having students submit videos so that they could talk about their learning experience through their eyes and creating a video just like that. So he's currently in the middle of doing that project right now. So I want to spend a little bit of time talking about the video game generation. Who was the one who was Carl? You were talking. No, somebody was talking about how oh, actually the speaker this morning. How everyone's at home playing Xboxes, and that's true. Kids of my generation are video game fanatics. And because of that, that has drastically changed the way that they learn, the way that they interact, the way that they deal with content. So if we look at possibly your generation, we look at these iconic figures. We got Felix the Cat, SpongeBob, SquarePants, Smurfs, Mickey Mouse. These are iconic characters of our childhood where they're there to entertain you by feeding you information linearly. So you're just sitting there absorbing the information. Now we come to the 1990s. Mario, Link, Snake from Metal Gear Solid, Sonic the Hedgehog. These are the iconic figures of kids today in the classroom. The difference with this level of entertainment, and I'm sure you guys already know this, is that instead of being there to receive the information solely, they're interacting with the characters. They're actually taking these characters and moving them through levels. They are determining the fate of these characters. They know the objective, they know how to get to it, and they want to try find the fastest way possible to get to that objective. And they are in control of these characters. Now we contrast that with our education system. How much control do they have? Not a whole lot. Right? So this is what we have to face. So students interface through a PlayStation controller now. They use keyboards and mice, computers, smartphones, iPads. And one of the biggest things that I've noticed with kids is that whenever you sorry, my voice cracked again. I'm still going through puberty. Is that whenever you hand them like a game or a system or anything like that, one of the first things they do before they actually play the game is they click on options. They want to understand what they can control within their environment. If they can change the color of the cursor, if they can change the way that the interface works. They want to know what level of control they have first before they get into the game so that they can customize it to their experience. So just a really quick recap, the evolution of technology just in the past 20 years. Then we look at just on communication, how we communicate in the past 20 years. This very small fonted list dates back to 105 BC when Chinese invented paper. Yay! And it goes through Pony Express, the telephone, radio 1916, television 1939, internet was born in 1994, and then today we have texting, instant messaging, Facebook, Twitter, news feeds. There we go. We all get all overwhelmed, and in fact, I get overwhelmed with all this new technology. So, technology is magical. Last year, you guys had the pleasure of experiencing my magical moment. Last year, when the iPad came out, when we had our ACTA meeting, that was the first time I got to experience the iPad. And since then, the iPad has revolutionized education in certain ways. I can't live without this thing. Now, this little device has opened up so much potential that, you know, we have iPod touches, and those can do the same thing. But these, just because of the sheer size, if people have come up with so many creative ways to do virtually everything that they can with this device. And since then, how many of you here have picked up an iPad for yourself personally? Good. Adventurers. And I could say for sure that none of you had it last year, right? But okay, now more importantly, how many of you have actually implemented this in your school system or tried to? Okay, from the teachers I talk to, you know, they offer a great potential, but there's still so much more we need to learn about this device to make it applicable. But just this one little piece of technology that was released 1 year ago has changed the landscape. Now you look at it and go, why do I need a netbook? Right? Why do I need a laptop when I could get the information right here, where I could touch it, I could feel it, you know, I could like interact with it. That's the difference. Instead of using a mouse and keyboard, you know, that's so impersonal. This brings a whole new personality that's more natural to the human experience. And I'm not an Apple rep by any stretch of the mean, but I love devices that make my life easier and that resonate with me. So one of the first things I wanted to, one little piece I want to show you is like David Katzen, who is an artist, took the iPad and did these amazing works of art just using these devices, just by sketching on it. And there's actually a really cool YouTube video online that actually shows him going through the entire drawing process in fast motion. It took him 4 hours to do some of these paintings, and you can see him going through the motions. And he says that's much faster than any other method, because normally when he does an oil painting, it takes like a week or something like that. But he can do quick sketches with an iPad, and he calls 4 hours quick. So I don't know about you, but that's a long time. But for an artist, that is a very quick process. So, you know, talking about technology, it's a little overwhelming, right? Anybody here overwhelmed with technology? Sure. Raise your hand, come on. Be proud. Right, yeah, I'm going to raise my hand too. So, this little video clip kind of illustrates how some of you might relate.
I know it says click with the mouse, but on a laptop, the trackpad is the mouse. Now, put your finger on it. It doesn't matter which finger. Good choice. Now, move it down to your email icon. The little envelope. What do you mean, what does it look like? It looks like an envelope. You don't like the computer? Don't use it. Sure, we can exchange it for a salad spinner. Goodbye.
So, how many of you have been on the other end of that phone call?
My mother.
Yeah? So, you know, us kids are this. And yeah, we have a...
Carl said he's the one calling.
And, you know, and yeah, we have this certain level of understanding that, you know, people who didn't grow up with the technology can't understand or relate to. So last year, I have to be honest with you, I come to this conference not just as an exhibitor, but also because I get inspired by going to meetings, okay? Last year, like I do the thing, oh, blue thing, blah, blah, blah. But I attend all of your meetings because it gives me a really good foundation as to what you're struggling with and what you're dealing with that, you know, I don't have because I'm not in the education system. So last year I was inspired to write a piece about technology as a language. And I have that right here. So if I can have some assistance passing out this material here.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much. I have 3 pieces: business card, survey, this, and this 4 pieces.
We got extra help.
And an evaluation form. So what they're passing out is the article I wrote because of attending ACTA last year. It speaks about, and also, before I go into that, passing out my business card, not because I want you to contact me, but because you can see how we've integrated social media right into our business cards. It's a little creative piece that we a technology survey, which I want you to fill out to kind of get a gauge as to what you are familiar with online tools, and an evaluation form so that I can figure out what I need to do to improve. Okay, so the way I think about technology is that it's all about language. So for the people who didn't grow up with technology, they didn't acquire that language. Just like how if you were living in France, you would pick up French during your language acquisition years. So technology can be considered a language. Why is it that I could pick up any electronic device and figure it out within 2 hours and know exactly all the functions? Because I could speak to it, figuratively. I could understand the complex nature of the digital bits behind it, and I could visualize it in my head and then translate it to the practical. I could read into it. I can actually predict how things should happen because I understand the mindset of the software or the programmers that are out there because they follow the similar language patterns. So because of that, because growing up with technology, I picked up this very unique skill and language to be able to communicate to technology. So, so for many people, especially with the kids now, they grow up with it. They have it. It's inherent in their DNA. It's their digital native arena. It's their world. And they understand it more than, probably than I do, more than you do, because it's their world. So how does CTE, okay, so the article, you can read it later, or read it now, because I know you guys probably read a lot faster than I do. And actually, I'd like to, after this is over, during the conference, if you want to comment on it, talk, have a little discussion, I'm really curious to hear about how your feelings are on that article as well. So just provide me feedback. So what has CTE done for me? Well, first off, I was involved in FBLA because it was something that made sense to me. It was an organization that I was like, hey, what can I do? Maybe I could do a business someday. Maybe I could grow a business to do something, provide a product or service. So when I was in high school, I was like, okay, that was my dream. My dream goal was to build a business. So far, so good. I took home economics classes. I didn't do very well in English Lit. I didn't do very well in social studies. I did somewhat well in math, although I did fail pre-calculus. I did fail pre-calculus, actually. But later on, I actually made it to Calc 2. It was just because I couldn't deal with it in high school at the time. I took industrial arts classes. I built little race cars provided by CO2 cartridges. Built clocks and picture frames and all these other things that are really fun. I took computer class and taught the class. No, I didn't, but I helped the teacher a lot. And then I took keyboarding at the time, which is now typing. So I have to say that CTE, what it did for me is that it gave me the opportunity to think abstractly, because I kind of fit into the linear learning models that are in the other classes. So CTE really resonated with me, and of course back then it wasn't really called CTE. So I want you to see my vision of education's future.
1 pi times the radius cubed.
This scene was taken from Vulcan, the planet Vulcan, where Spock grew up on. Do we have any Star Trekkies in here? Okay, good. And this is how they reimagine the future of education in the year 2023. I can't remember what the start date was, but. So pretty insane. But you got to think about this. Our vision of this might become a reality soon, someday. Who knows? But if you look back, 20, 30 years to the education, if an educator were to come back from 20, 30 years ago and saw what we were doing today, it would look just as foreign as that. Yeah. So that's one of my visions. My other vision is this. This is what I want.
Not yet.
Operator.
Tank, I need a pilot program for a B-212 helicopter. Hurry.
Let's go.
So imagine that. Now I've got to think about this for a second here. If an educator were to come by from the 1900s and see what we have today with our technology, it would seem like to them what we just saw there. It's like, so you want to know something? Here it is. We don't download it directly into our brains yet. I'm sure that might become a reality someday. I'm keep my fingers crossed. But all these things is the motion that we're heading for, and it's just amazing how much they change. So so when I created KP, I wanted to create a curriculum that resonated with me. I wanted to build a system that worked for me. So I wanted to create instant curriculum because I get pretty impatient. I want the information now. I want it easy. I want it fast. I don't want to go to a stinking microfiche library and look up an article, which I had to do. So I understand. I want to create dynamic curriculum. Curriculum that could live and breathe on its own. A digital curriculum is all those things. A curriculum that can be remixed and reordered so that it could all fit in line. So that when you're mixing all that stuff, tests, terms, and everything like that will automatically fit. We don't have to have prescribed curriculum anymore. That's my dream. There we go, puberty again. That's my dream, is to build a curriculum and a system where we can apply knowledge and practice. So, on the academic side, there's a survey called Speak Up on tomorrow.org. Actually, it's tomorrow.org. You don't need project. It's how many of you have seen this survey, are aware of it, read it? The 2010 one just came out this month. Basically, they surveyed 400,000 individuals, 300,000 of which are students, and assessed what they want in the school system, how technology has changed over the past 10 years, and they have data going all the way back to the year 2000, so that they could trend it and see how in 2000 nobody had MP3 players. Now 73% of all students surveyed have MP3 players. 60% have cell phones, so on and so forth, so forth. So it's a great data resource. If you look at it, you can download the document. You'll probably be able to read it in like 5 minutes. It took me like a couple hours. But what, it talks about technology and Web 2.0, and it's really good data for reinforcing why technology is important in the classroom. Because the most important thing is that schools that are turned off, they tune out the students. So in it, they talk about the digital disconnect. Students.
There's some whiskey in there. Put some vodka in there.
What?
We'll need some whiskey in there.
Yeah. No, that's a good idea there, Butch. What do you think? Well, as you can see, I don't project a lot, so I'm probably going to be hoarse after this. Students of all ages, demographics, well, you can read it, but it's basically saying that there is a severe digital disconnect in the classroom. And for me, my perspective is that it's not the school's fault for not being able to do that. Schools who don't adopt technology, yeah, they could be at fault, but there aren't enough products and services that are built in the digital arena to be able to enable this. iPads opened up a whole new world. Before the iPads, we had computers, but there were still limitations. So the most important thing is that we need to speak the students' language. Back to the whole language as a technology. It talks about the free agent learner. what they want personalized learning experiences. They want profiles, portfolios, accountability, wide range of informational sources. Basically they're talking about me, but as a kid. Last thing is, in this horribly red letter, we can't really see very well, it says, textbooks no longer have a monopoly on knowledge anymore. I speak to many of you and have really great, frank discussions, and the truth of the matter is, it's not in the book, it's all online. So kids, they know so much more because they have the world in their hands. Like this guy right there, he's got the world in his hands. Sorry. Okay. They want untethered learning. They want to be able to access the information from anywhere, anytime. And so these are just charts and graphs that you can get on the line. They want personalized learning. These are just a few key points. They go into a lot of really great data. Okay, so enough about that. What I want to show you is a short 3-minute and 43-second video on social media in plain English. So this kind of describes the social media atmosphere.
I'm sure you've heard the buzz. Social media may be the next big thing. What's it all about? This is social media in plain English. Let's take a visit to Scoopville, a town that's famous for ice cream. For over 20 years, Big Ice Cream Company has been making high-quality ice cream with a big factory in town. A few years back, the company did focus groups and found out that they could maximize profits by offering 3 flavors: chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry. The residents of the town were content. They never thought it could be different. Then something happened in Scoopville. A new invention came to town. Suddenly, everyone could make their own ice cream for only a few dollars. This changed everything. The Smiths decided to make pineapple ice cream. The Joneses made ice cream with pecans. Soon, every kind of ice cream imaginable was being made by Scoopville's residents at very little cost. Of course, some ice cream was more popular than others, and that was okay. Sylvia's pickle ice cream had a very small but loyal following. That was fine. She only needed enough income to buy ingredients for her next batch. Jarrett's red velvet ice cream became so famous, he created his own store. Over time, people started to think differently about ice cream. It didn't always come from a factory. It also came from friends and neighbors. It became something to share, something to bring people together, something to celebrate. Big Ice Cream Company still made the best vanilla around, and to their surprise, demand even grew. But it was the unique, original, and authentic flavors made by the residents that brought people to Scoopville. When they arrived, however, there seemed to be a problem. There were too many flavors. Visitors felt overwhelmed. They needed ways to find the new, the popular, the flavors that were interesting to them. Franklin had an idea for his ice cream. Outside his house, he erected a board and invited his customers to share their thoughts on his ice cream. They could use words to describe it, stars to rate it, and leave messages for others. People loved it. At a glance, visitors could tell what his ice cream was all about and learn from people like them. Over time, each resident had their own board. Sylvia's board showed that her pickle ice cream didn't please everyone, but was very unique and interesting. Jarrett's board overflowed with positive reviews and ratings. Soon, a few things became clear. First, their ice cream got better because they could learn directly from customers. Second, free customer reviews were more valuable than costly advertising. And third, the boards created a way for customers to find exactly what they wanted. The combination of new technology and new ways to work with customers helped the residents feel like a unique community. So, this is social ice cream, by the people, for the people. It turns out that ice cream and social media have a lot in common. Today, everyone has a chance to make their own flavors, thanks to free tools like blogs, podcasts, and video sharing. Plus, we now have new ways for real people to play a role in providing feedback, organization, and promotion. Whether you're a big, established company, an individual with loyal fans, or simply someone with ideas and opinions, social media means new opportunities to create and communicate with people that care. New tools are arriving in cities and towns around the world. When this change comes to your neighborhood, the choice is yours. What flavors will you make? I'm Lee Lefevre, and this has been Social Media in Plain English on the Common Craft Show. One more thing, the Common Craft...
Okay, so social media, this is the, besides technology, computers, cell phones, etc., this is the world that our students are growing up in a world where they can socially interact in a two-way communication street between themselves and products and services. And these are, this is a quick little snapshot of all the social media tools that are out there. A whole lot of them. But of course, we know the popular ones here. So we look at this world and this environment, this two-way street of communication that they're used to now. They know that they could look at something and comment on it. If they don't like something, they write about it. If they experience a bad product or service, they could review it. If they experience a good thing, they could write about it. It all gets fed into this social media engine. And looking at all this content information, it really gives us a good snapshot as to how the world is. We look at Twitter, the Twitter feeds. It gives you a trend of what's popular, what's going on, and what are people talking about. Nowhere else have we had such an open view of what the world is thinking. No other time have we been able to do that. We go to a conference, maybe we have like 2,000 people together, and we can get a good collective consciousness as to what they're thinking at the time. But now we look at a world scale. Facebook allows for ways of expression. It's about connectedness. It's about creating community, building relationships in ways that we never thought possible. And the most important thing, especially about this, the social media world, is that it's relevant to their lives. So I want to take a little recent recap of how social media has been played out in the media in the past few months. We look at Egypt, Libya, all those countries where social media has been a critical role in creating a revolution, getting people together, communicating, getting the message out. In Japan recently, during the earthquake and tsunami, people, my wife knew about the earthquake. Oh, she's sitting right up here. Wave everyone. Knew about the earthquake before it even hit the media outlets because she follows a group there, a band, and she got a tweet that said, "Oh my gosh, we had a major earthquake." And she got that message instantly. So when the earthquake happened, the Twitter board lit up with earthquake notices. And then suddenly the world was aware. Then the media outlets picked it up and they started covering the news, so on and so forth. So I was in San Francisco at the time, and she gives me a call in the middle of the night because I was there for a teachers conference because the tsunami was going to hit the West Coast. And I was in San Francisco, an area that was actually kind of hit, but not terribly. And she was worried about me because she knew what was happening through that medium. And unfortunately, I was asleep at the time. So, but the fact is that, she warned me. We were able to take care of it because we had that communication channel. And now in Japan, just another story. It's like, people are actually finding each other through Twitter, through Facebook. That was the only way they could communicate. Cell phones were down, phone lines were down, but they were able to post, "I'm fine, I'm safe." An exchange student here found out that her family and home was one of the only ones that was spared because she saw the video on YouTube. It's that amazing. We're not in a vacuum anymore. So how does social media relate to education? We use it in our everyday lives. And actually, how many of you here use like Facebook or Twitter? Anybody? Okay. The numbers are growing. So it doesn't belong. Can it be used? Are you protected? There's so many worries and things preventing us from embracing this technology. There's so many negatives that keep us from thinking about the positives. So, speaking of negative, one of the biggest fears that people have is, how do we socialize anymore? This short little video demonstrates.
Listen, I've got to have a word with
You know, Jen, you can change your settings on FriendFest so you don't have to have that annoying bleep every time you get a message.
This is from a British show called IT Crab.
Yeah, I just have to tell you about...
Yep. Jen, just open a chat window and then we can all talk in it.
How do I do that?
You just, you press the speech bubble in the left-hand corner.
Yeah.
Yep. Yes. Oh yeah, but don't forget
What do you like?
if I might interject. That was a classic Moss line.
I love this. I feel so social.
LOL. Right? How many of you fear that could be our future? Okay.
Hey,
Yeah.
Nine. Cindy's little boy, Cindy Wiggly's little boy, and my daughter are the same age, and we did a vacation together summer before last, and they had their little Nintendo DSs, and they're on the sofa, one on one end, one on the other, with the blanket over their feet, and they're texting each other back and forth, and they're just giggling. They sat there for like 30 minutes and didn't say anything to each other and just giggled back and forth because they were texting back and forth to each other. They're sitting beside each other.
Yeah, to us it's like, oh my gosh, they're not communicating anymore. Well, no, they're not. I mean, yes, they are communicating. They're communicating in a whole different way. A different way than what we're used to. So, is it wrong? Is it right? Is it a morality call? It's different, to say the least. And people who say you have to have face-to-face interaction to communicate, and that's the only way. To the kids, no, they have face-to-face. They have texting. They have through DS. They have computers. They have message boards. They have so many avenues of expression now. It's not just limited to face-to-face, and they call that communications. So I want to take a little snapshot from a success story that I'm actually writing an article right now about lifting the cell phone ban in the classroom in the school and integrating Facebook and Twitter into the school. So first off, let me see a raise of hands. Like how many people actually allow cell phones in the school? A few of you, the bold, the proud, the experimental. Yeah, it's a scary thing, and a lot of educators, fear opening that Pandora's box. Anybody here with a school Facebook page?
School Facebook?
Yeah.
Yeah, we do, but it's not, you can't access it at school.
Okay, but you have it out there. Yeah. So we got five about. Yeah. Okay, very good. So, but okay, how many of you but besides the access policy, you have a Facebook presence. You have a Facebook presence. So we have a few more. Yeah, Facebook, banning it from school, that makes sense because you don't need that. But having a Facebook page is important. So I interviewed Principal Jason Wells at Birdville High School and Shannon Houston at Watauga Middle School about how their school system embraces cell phones and Facebook. And basically, from what they said, and it's going to be a pretty good article, I hope. And maybe it'll get published in Techniques. I'm going to submit it. But teachers, who allow teachers will allow the students to use the cell phone productively in class. So instead of having the cell phone in the pocket texting, which you know all the kids know how to do, they have it on the desk using it right there in plain view. So can they text now? No, they're actually using it to look up information, to research, to do other things. That's one of the results that they said. You know, it cut down on a lot of people doing like pocket texting. You know, one of the other key things that they indicated was that there's less distractions and social problems in between classes, because they have a policy like in the class, cell phone remains off. It goes off, you lose it for the day. You know, it goes off again, then you get rid of. You know, they have a really strict policy, so kids don't want to violate that. So in between class, they can pull out, they can text each other, they can listen to music. They're doing their thing, they're doing their social thing in between class, and then when the bell rings, off it goes. It's cut down on a lot of problems in the hallway, because they're all doing something else instead of, you know, fighting or bullying.
Cyberbullies.
Yeah. Now cyberbullying is a problem, but you know, that's something that's a different topic. Students see that's a privilege, and they don't want to lose it. So now they're like, oh, going, okay, cool. This school lets me have my cell phone now. It's not a contraband item, so I don't have to hide it. You know, I can have it just as long as I follow the rules. And one of the other key things that they mentioned was that, you know, even though they have it during testing periods, they actually pick up all the cell phones. So now they know all the students have cell phones. They know the ones who do, and they know which ones they have to pick up now. So it's identified. It works. And another key thing that they indicated is that instant access for the student is key, because it's something that they're used to at home, and by providing this tool that they're used to, helps them in their education.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Yes.
Because we ran into this during testing, there was a huge issue with our statewide testing this year with cell phones. And we found that some of our students, and again, outsmarted us as teachers and educators, and had their dummy phone that they turned in, but had taken their SIM card out, and still had their real phone. And so was that something that you addressed, or that they, I know they see it as a privilege so they don't want to lose it. Is that something that comes up with them where?
That's a good question. I didn't ask that specific question, but I did ask about testing and things like that, and they didn't indicate any other problems within their school system. And I have to preface this with, like, you know, this school system is a good population. It's free and reduced, so it's not like you know,
we're free and reduced. But yeah. We had a lot. We're in Farmington City, so inner city, but 50% of our kids had handed dummy phones.
Yeah.
Still had their real phones in their pockets.
That's a good point. I'll email them and see if they have a response to that, or if they've encountered that before. But yeah, I mean, those kids are smart. They're crafty little suckers. Yeah.
Crafty little suckers. Who's learning that trash dog?
But one of the things that cell phones allow you to do is it allows you to use free tools on the internet. So one of the key things that they address is that they use Poll Everywhere for a classroom. Anybody here familiar with Poll Everywhere? Poll Everywhere. Okay, one teacher. Poll Everywhere is this service that allows you to text in or log in on a web-enabled device and actually submit your answer. So it kind of circumvents those student response systems. In fact, like a lot of schools use this instead of a student response system now. So the vendor's probably not very happy that I'm telling you this. But the key is that they're actually using their cell phone to text in answers to a question. So, and then Doodle is another free service that allows you to do, not doodling, but actually allows you to create like polls online as well. It's another free service. It's free for teachers because if you do a poll with under 30 participants, it's free. If you want more than 30 participants, like at a conference or larger, you pay a monthly fee, which is actually not a whole lot. So one of the polls that I asked at one of my speaking engagements was, how old am I? Because people often wonder. So right now it's connecting to the internet, and hopefully you'll be able to pull the data if the internet's fast enough. Oh, there we go. So you know, I had 48 people respond. So obviously I'm not using the free one for this one. And this is the scale as to how it is. And the cool thing is that as you text the answers, these graphs move. So it gives you that extra element of like, you know, like, ooh, you know, it's moving up and down, something. So it's a great way to get instant feedback. All right, so that's one of the supporting
What's the
elements.
answer?
Huh?
What's the answer?
Oh, the answer is one of those answers. It's a closely guarded secret. I keep people guessing. Yes.
How do these schools manage the sites that give kids access? Because our school system, we want to allow, we are providing some of our innovative features to the schools, but we probably want to manage the sites.
Yes.
How are they managing?
Well, they do it. They actually have a fairly open policy because, from what I've gathered, they actually do allow YouTube. They do allow certain sites more than some schools. So a lot of it has to do with your IT department, how good they are at picking up problem areas. But another thing to do is just pure education. Educating, proper usage of tools and resources to find the right information. So I'm sorry I don't have a really concrete answer as to how they do it, other than blocking certain sites, firewalling certain content, filtering certain things, and then allowing sites on request based on what the teacher needs. Yeah, so a lot of schools already do that. There's really no magic answer to that. Maybe I'll find it someday, and I'll write about it. All right, so so speaking about Facebook, Facebook has really changed the way that people interact with each other. There was a movie about it recently, and it gives people to be able to get together as a group, to be able to post pictures, information about themselves, and just basically create this whole social experience online. And as I mentioned before, this is the world that students are growing up with. This freedom of expression. And it's something that we can't fight. And it's something that we have to teach about social responsibility online. By embracing the technology, instead of blocking it, we're acknowledging that it's there, but we need to teach them proper etiquette. Great movie, by the way. So from what they said about their Facebook implementation in their school, it took them 5 minutes to set it up. And in fact, the story, it's a really great story. The superintendent of their school actually told them to do it, but not that way. The superintendent of Birdville USD, which is actually in Birdville, Texas, told them, he was at a conference and said, hey, I'm learning some really great information. Create a Facebook account because I want you to follow my posts so I can post about what I'm learning. So he told all of his principals from middle school, high school, to create a Facebook account. So many of them never had Facebook, so they did it on that request. So when they created it, they realized, oh my gosh, this is a great way to communicate, internally. Then Jason Wells, principal at Birdville High School, said, hey, I have this. I've been posting messages and tweets. He was trying to use Twitter to post about club activities and sports events and things like that. And then people were following him and things like that. So he's like, okay, Facebook would be good. So he created a Facebook page. Instantly, he had several hundred people like it and start following that medium. So it was so fast and easy. It's one of those things that it doesn't take a computer genius to be able to do. They make it very easy, and there's actually quite a bit of good privacy controls. One of the big questions that come up is, what do you do about kids posting profanity, posting bad information? Well, the key to that is it's logged to their account, so there's no anonymity. It's not like you're going out graffitiing a wall and then running away. It's actually tied to an actual account. So they haven't had, in the past 2 years that they've had their Facebook, any problem posts. They might have some posts that don't that violate the school policy. One of them was somebody posted actually this has nothing to do with Facebook. It had to do with YouTube. You know, kids like doing skateboarding tricks on school grounds. So the principal said, you can't post that video online. It puts the school in bad light. And the kids go, oh, okay, we understand. You know, we can do it somewhere else, at the park or something like that. So the kids understand, and they want to respect your wishes because they get respect in turn. So no problem posts, which is amazing because I thought, you know, you'd have to police it. You have to go, oh my gosh, you know, delete, 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 delete every day. But they don't have that problem. That's one of the biggest fears. They got so much more involvement from students and teachers who follow them because they're actually getting the messages now. They have all this same information on their website. But you gotta be honest, who goes to your school website and looks at the calendar? You know, maybe the head of the PTSA, maybe the club leader, but the average student, no. Average parent, no. But they're on Facebook. It brings, another key thing is that it brought the community together in one space. It created a unity. Teachers have actually set up groups on Facebook and posted homework assignments to their students. In fact, there's quite a bit of articles that I found online that support that fact where, you know, I'm sure you guys don't get a lot of snow days, but there's schools who get snow days, and instead of wasting the day away, they say, okay, today's homework assignment is this, this, and this. You know, go ahead and turn it to me in at the end of the day. You know, we have this big project coming up. So the kids are doing it. It's a more personal way to communicate. So that's Facebook. And I'd be happy to you know, speak to you more further about how it is. I can actually pull it up on the internet, but I'm actually running out of time. So I want to talk about my dream. And I have a timer here because it tells me to shut up.
9.
And there we go.
You can turn the microphone down.
Okay. Oh, cool. And there we go. We got Mario. That's my alarm. So one of the key things about like curriculum is that I'll just keep yelling. Well, actually, I'll just. All right. Hello. Can you hear me? Okay. Oh, cool. I don't have to yell anymore and crack my voice and pretend to go through puberty again. So as I mentioned, like, you know, all this digital technology, you know, utilizing cell phones and Facebook and social media, you know, these are all the elements that our kids are growing up with. You know, when I grew up, I mean, I didn't have these things, but I acted as if I grew up in this world. So by creating the tools, the curriculum, you know, my original goals for my company, you know, I created this thing called Cave Compass. I had this, I just wanted to just briefly tell you about it because it's a bizarre dream of mine that hopefully will become a new thing in education. When I talk about like remixing content and be able to build a system that can intelligently create lessons, this is one of the things of last year. Baldwin, when I was speaking with teachers from Baldwin County, that was the first time I actually spoke about the concept. So it was a you know, still a dream because we were in the process of building it. You know, it gives you the chance to be able to remix content, to create individualized instruction. You know, one of the key differences is that instead of creating a linear test, a test that based on a prescribed array of content, it tests students on mastery of any given content that you put together in a group. So instead of just taking a test and getting like, oh, you got 80%, here's your grade. You know, we take the students through a process of going through the content, and it tells them, okay, you're still a novice, you need to go through the test again, you can get more knowledge points, and then you could graduate to apprentice, and then eventually to guru. So their goal is to go through the information and take the test and graduate and level up their profile, basically. Or character. No, I won't say character yet because we're not there yet. So our process is, you know, test for mastery, and then in the end you could administer a normal test to actually get a grade to fulfill your requirements. And then the next steps with what what I was dreaming about, and this was a closely guarded secret, but now letting the cat out of the bag, is was speaking about knowledge and practice points. Building a system that the teacher can actually manage or become the dungeon master. Anybody here play D&D, Dungeons and Dragons, or anything like that? No, none of you. Okay, sorry. No, and I'm sure you're familiar with it. It's a fantasy role-playing game. But the teacher would have control over their world or their dungeon. Not really a dungeon, but and be able to figure out what these points do for my given class. We won't prescribe it. We'll have a guide. But the point is that then you have this guide template, and the students would be able to go, okay, if I get this many points, then I make this award. And if I make this many points in this particular category, then I make this achievement. And then if I do these special activities, I get a badge. Now, speaking back to what I was speaking earlier about video games, as you can see where my inspiration comes from. So, is it something that can become a reality? Is it something that would actually fit in academics? I guess time will tell. But this is my dream, and this is the way I see education should be headed with our social media, internet generation, video gaming, crazy kids. So in summary, and actually I did pretty good time. I'm only a few minutes over. Social media is relevant to their lives right now. Nearly all nearly all students have cell phones, even in free places where they have majority free and reduced. I talk to teachers and they go, yeah, no, they don't have computers, but they got a cell phone. The only thing that the social network requires to work is you. You're the key to be able to make this happen. So, if you guys want to give this a whirl, all you need to do is text 36. Oh wait, I'm missing a piece of information. Oh yeah, there we go. If you want this poll to work, in the phone number field, if you're texting something like your friend, John Doe or something like that, instead of putting their name down, you put down 37607, and in the message body you put in one of those numbers, and then those things will start moving. So thank you very much. I appreciate your time, and please complete those surveys and the evaluation form and tell me how I did. And for those of you who missed it, I want the yellow form to be completed by everybody so we can get a good assessment as to how everyone is. And also the article, those of you who are in the other room, I have an article here about technology as language, so come up here and pick it up.
Thank you, Nye. We appreciate it. Y'all, I want to challenge everybody in the room. If you do not have an account on LinkedIn, right here, please, I'm challenging you to set up an account on LinkedIn. ACTE has a LinkedIn page. Workforce Development has a page. You will get immediate information about what's going on with ACTE through LinkedIn. It's a professional it's a professional network, not a social network. This could be a great tool for us as ACTA to start communicating quickly with each other. So if everybody would go to LinkedIn and set up their own professional page, then you're going to automatically start seeing people within your community that are in business. A lot of major organizations, HR people are on LinkedIn. I mean, I think you'll see a big network that you can work with utilizing that media. Thanks.
Thank you, Wyatt. For those of us that are older than calculators, we're really going through a lot of changes. When we tell kids we didn't have calculators when we were in college, so we have been through some major changes. We will take about a 15-minute break. I'll blow the conch shell when it's time to come back. Make sure